Welcome to Resonate Live. We, in true Resonate style, are completely winging this, and we have rehearsed nothing. If you are in need of fiscal stimulation, as indeed we all are from time to time, then you've come to the right place. But a quick warning, this carries a 16 plus advisory. There will be some bad language. It's not that bad, but there could be a little bit of bad language. So if you're sensitive to that sort of thing, then, well, there's a nice nursery rhyme over on the list of the side of YouTube. But if it's nursery rhymes, then please can I introduce the nursery rhyme master, Miss Lily Cooper.
The one, the only.
And we've also got in the house with us, Mr. Thomas Samuel P. McCann.
Get your moustache out.
And, as well as yours truly, we have our esteemed guest who's got something very exciting to talk about and share. We have got Anna.
Hello.
So we're going to be really winging it, including the order and everything we're doing. So I think we're going to go and drop in with Lily first. Lily, how you bearing up?
I'm ready for you guys. I'm more than ready to show some stuff that I've been cooking up over the last year.
How long has it been since we've been in the crypt? It'll be a year, right? I mean,
I think it's definitely over a year now, that since we've been together in the crypt doing our thing. Yeah, it's over a year.
do you know what we did? The last one we did was right after my baby was born, and it was on the Thursday afterwards. So,
And I've never seen a man look so tired.
oh man, we were talking about double digit, like single sleep over a course of about. That was pretty hardcore. But now I've just gotten used to it, and I do sit in a vat of Vaseline every day just to stop my face from cracking.
Right, yeah, that makes sense. I think the lack of sleep is actually making your hair look really good. So that's, if you're watching, just stop sleeping, your hair will start to grow very long and lusciously.
I actually was accused by the cameraman, the person behind this camera, of having lockdown hair. He said, "Oh, I like your lockdown hair, Tom." I was like, "This ain't lockdown hair.
Locks locked down.
This ain't lockdown
Lots of locks and lockdown."
I was thinking of doing a song. I was thinking of doing like a diss record.
Right.
Like something with a really like this ain't lockdown hair.
Lots of locks in lockdown.
Don't call hair. You may be unaware, but I've been growing this for about a year. Or two.
Or two. It's coming up for two nearly.
It's so nice to be back in situ with you again.
It is great.
I mean, should we describe what Resonate is to anyone who's just watching this, has never been to one of our
He's never been to
crypt
one of our real live events.
ones, or even the Zoom ones, which were really good.
So in the first lockdown, we did them every 2 weeks on Zoom as a closed event, and they worked really well. Everybody in their little dimly lit windows, and that was really beautiful. But yeah, it's been long since it's been in the crypt, yeah. So.
And the crypt was special, wasn't it? The crypt was so nice. See, in the crypt, we had, we could get like maybe 30 people, if that. And it was, and we always had it, and it was rammed. And it was just such a cute little place. But I think probably on our social media, there's some pictures. It would give you an idea of the kind of scale of what we're talking about.
Yeah, there's lots of pictures, and there's some video footage on our Instagram if you do want to check it out, of the good old days.
The good old days. And if you're if you want to join in with one of our kind of more official kind of Resonate things, then we've got a Zoom Resonate meeting on
the 11th.
The 11th, yeah. So
Thursday the 11th.
Is that 7:30? Did we set that for?
And you just need to email lily@eggtooth.org.uk, and I can give you the Zoom link and you can join.
Yeah, that's to avoid Zoom bombing, poetry bombing, bombing of any kind. We do not condone
Yeah.
in Resonate
We are not advocates for
of
that.
any sort of bombs. But except for yarn bombs on the pier, that was quite cool when they did that. But
Yarn
basically this is
bombs,
going to be like
bombs are different. I
do
quite
you
like-
remember the yarn bombing on the pier?
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. Sorry if there are any older viewers who remember World War II and are thinking of a different kind of bombing on the pier, then I'm really sorry if we're causing you to have any flashbacks. And if you have been affected by any of the discussions in this show, then please email Lily at active.org.uk and ask her to stop. But this is so. The idea of this is we haven't been together for a really, really, really long time, and we miss each other and we miss you. So
and we, and one of the incredible elements of what Resonate had was the open mic element, and obviously that's harder to recreate in an online space. But we do try to recreate that on the Zooms, on Resonate, the Resonate Zoom. So yeah, I mean, if you do really want to perform to a really loving, welcoming audience, then please do get in touch because it's a great, safe space.
Yeah, that's kind of the idea, isn't it? Really,
Yeah.
that it's a safe space and
to express.
Yeah, so people are trying new things out all the time, and there's no kind of fear of it being published. Which, in a way, now we're doing this. Everything we're doing today is published. So we're taking a slightly different risk today.
Yeah, we are taking a slightly different risk, and I've definitely had to think about what sort of content that I want to produce on a Saturday afternoon for you, lovely, lovely audience people.
So, wonderful Lily Cooper, could you please tell us what you're going to do for us this Saturday afternoon?
So basically, I thought I'd show you some of my poems that I was writing about a year ago. So in the first lockdown, March, springtime, the only way to sort of keep myself, happy and playful and all of those things that kind of went away when you get locked inside your house. I had to just walk all the time, walking across the East Hill, walking for hours on end, definitely not adhering to the 1 hour exercise restrictions rules. But yeah, I was in the sun and there was trees and butterflies and it was all very idyllic. So I wanted to sort of, show you some of the stuff that I wrote in that time. So the first one I'm going to share with you is all about lovely self-love. Spread yourself like butter on a piece of toast. Let your tummy flutter, clean up that clutter, and smell the lavender. You're a forager. Find your comforts and wear them as earrings. Massage your feet, tickle your toes, learn every mark, and then tell them your woes. They'll listen. Kiss your fingertips after they make marks. Tell them you're grateful for them, translators of the heart. Playing, playful, curious and happy, combined with healing and crying. The recipe isn't my favourite, but it's a classic. My crooked teeth, like people unique and strong. If they could speak, I know we'd get along. My goosebumps, an elusive terrain for a lover's breath to stumble down, drunk on a soft touch. Hum that tune out loud, longing for crowds, walking barefoot on hills proud. Sing and giggle when no one's around because your silliness is authentic. Purest nectar you can find. Glug it down like sweet red wine.
We're doing that.
We do it.
This is a thing.
Wait, but
apparently.
when I do this though, when I click my fingers, I just like go into mum dancing.
No, it's more Colton Banks from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. But, just to say, you can clap. Actually, if you do clap at home, we feel it. We feel it.
I feel it in my heart.
Thanks to the properties of quantum entanglement, we feel it.
Collective consciousness.
Exactly. Yeah, so feel free. Go bananas. Jump up and down. Make any noise.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Resonate was never one of those places where we were serious, was it? Like
I was always screaming.
everyone clapped. No one ever did this.
Yeah, we always screamed, shouted yay, whoop. I always love a damn. I always go for a damn.
A hot damn.
Damn. Damn, girl. So yeah.
Did you ever get a damn girl?
I always used to say damn, but I can't do damn for myself, so
No. Well, you could do.
maybe I'll start doing that.
You could pre-record it for the next one.
Damn, girl.
Oh, that's lovely, Lily. I think I remember you doing that one.
I did share that one once.
Yeah, it was that like back in April or something when we first started doing our online Zooms.
Yeah, so I'm going to do... Shall I go for another? And
Please.
I'm going to do my poem that I have only shared once. And it goes back to just being up at the East Hill and just exploring, just following your instincts and just whatever. Yeah. So this poem is called Mud. I want to roll in that mud, that sexy, sticky mud. I want to swim in that mud, that sexy, oozing, sticky mud. I want to rub it on my skin, that sexy, sticky mud. I want it on me, in my blood, that sexy, sticky mud. Oh, baby, let's have a baby with that sexy, sticky mud. Brown and gooey, I bet it's chewy, that sexy, sticky mud. Brown and yucky, let's get mucky with that sexy, sticky mud. I'm surprised, I didn't know I was that way inclined with the sexy, sticky mud. It's my friend. Don't be jealous. There's enough sexy, sticky mud. I want to be primal. Let's get wild with the sexy, sticky mud. Feeling like a child when I'm with that sexy, sticky mud. Is there leaves? Is it made from trees, that sexy, sticky mud? Wet and sloppy, sexy, sticky mud. Ooh, there's a squirrel. Really, we're feral. Playing in that sexy, sticky mud. Rub it on my belly. It'll wobble like jelly, that sexy, sticky mud. Mother Earth gave me my worth. Now I'm sharing it with that sexy, sticky mud. Damn, girl.
I can't do a damn girl, I'm sorry. I just can't. I almost did then. I said the damn, I was like, shut up. Don't do that. That's forever, that is.
It's on the internet forever.
Yeah, it's all right. Oh, that's good. What do we think, people?
Muddy, muddy mud.
Who wants to go out in the mud? Sexy, sticky mud. There is more mud this year, right? I was listening to a thing on the radio. Has anyone heard about this? About how, because we can't walk on the paths anymore, they're called desire lines, where people walk on the, on the grass. And I heard that like because people can't walk on the paths anymore, they're going round each other, and it's causing the sort of the erosion of the banks around footpaths. And they've been asking people to not do it, to just be a bit more considerate. So, I mean...
So find your mud in a sustainable way.
Yeah, exactly. Not in Alexandra Park, where the path is actually, it's a good 3 meters wide.
We're really all about the sustainable mud up in here.
Single file, guys. You've got to go single file when it calls for it. That's... Just a question for our audience. Is anyone else feeling major anxiety when they walk down a path? And just there's loads of people and you're like, they're not getting out the way. Oh, God. And then you start going, oh, you're such a prick. But you're not really, because it's just really normal. People are behaving normally. And you just get a bit resentful. Man, I need like an immersion therapy.
I think what we need is actually like a guide on how to walk down paths now. Like we all need to be like retaught how to walk down paths because it's just not the same etiquette anymore.
Yeah. Take care out on the street. Make sure you leave 6 feet. You've got to walk in single file and Don't be a prick.
Damn!
That should be at the next briefing. So, Lily, have you got another one that you'd like to do for us?
I might do another one, yeah, just because it kind of fits in like a nice 3 with the other 2 poems. So, yeah. I think I'm just going to go for it because this one speaks for itself. Today, I found a fairy's wing. Around the sounds of a buzz, but no sting around. I played in the river's side. In the warrior's glen, I found a fairy's wing. No sting, just buzz, buzz. Curiosity in the glen when I found a fairy's wing. I play, I look. I'm looking like I'm reading a book. I look, I listen. The water glistens. There's a bubble, but I feel no trouble when I find a fairy's wing. She grows another while I discover myself as a child. She looks from afar, hoping the sound of my heart is free. I'm so pleased I found a fairy's wing. A gift from thee, all wrapped up in the present. It's so pleasant, the feeling I felt when I found a fairy's wing. I'm so pleased, filled with glee. The moss is with me, the leaves and the bees as I play with the child in me. She smiles when we find a fairy's wing. The greenery, there's green in me. The child in me lets me be me. The sound of the water around surrounds. I look up, and it isn't luck, but there is the sun smiling at me. Yay!
Let's have a big round of applause, everyone, for Miss Lily Cooper. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, fantastic. It's so nice to see you
my
in
face.
vivid colour while you read that, because I've only seen you doing poetry through a Zoom call for so long. God, it's
Look at
like,
me in 3D.
It's a treat for the eyes, isn't it? When you actually see someone face to face, it's just so pleasant to see that. You know, like when you see an old film and you're like, oh, like the colour saturation of 35mm film, and you're like, oh God, I've been needing that. All I've been seeing is like over the top HD. And then you see that and you're like, oh, that's really nice. But talking of getting to see something the way nature intended it, isn't it going to be lovely to introduce our next poet and not see up his nostrils for once?
Yeah!
Ladies and gentlemen, Tom McCann.
There we go. Is that the view?
No matter how much we asked you to like sort out a tripod or something like that,
couldn't
you're
do it,
always
man.
like up the nose.
That's what pushing trolleys does to him, man. You know what I mean?
Tom, you haven't been pushing trolleys for a
a
long
long
old time, have you?
Oh my God.
How are you feeling? How's your wrists? Recovered?
Well, yeah, I'm better. Yeah,
Yeah?
that was a thing, wasn't it?
It really was a
Trolleys.
thing. That was a feature. That was a regular feature.
Dank, dark car park. I was like in a troll's cave. It was horrific. Horrendous.
We actually stopped clapping the NHS at one point, didn't we, and clapped you instead.
Yeah.
There was this man, I'm telling you, he was out there scrubbing the handlebars on your trolleys and your baskets. He's the reason that if you've evaded this virus so far, he's the reason. He's the
Me.
hygienist. So your official role was technical hygienist, was it?
I don't know. I just went there and worked and went home and cried.
Car park hygienist?
Yeah, I
You could
guess.
put it on your CV.
Yeah.
But Tom, what are you doing these days? You're
I'm waiting for the Kickstart scheme to work, but bureaucracy entails that it's a very slow behemoth of a thing that doesn't work.
right. Is it like the New Deal or something like that?
Yeah, well, it's just like you know, like universal credit work coaches. They're like, you got a job yet? I'm like, no. just again and again, and it's just waiting for them to give me the job.
So what's
You've
your...
got the job though.
Oh yeah, I've got it, but now it's just waiting to actually work. So here we are.
So you're the job, basically what we're alluding to here, we're beating around the bush, is you are going to be a bona fide journalist.
Yeah, I guess a bit. I'm not really, am I? Though? But yeah, I am. Yeah.
Can you share some of your secret methods for getting down to the truth? The nitty gritty.
Just wing it, I guess. It'll work one day.
You don't have to sleep with anyone or anything like that to get details. Undercover lover.
I hope not. Everyone's old round here. Fucking. End up with crust and piles, mate.
Oh, goodness. We did warn that this would be an over 16 kind of thing. If you're under 16 and you're laughing right now, well, let me tell you, this is funny. Tom, your style has been likened to a sort of Tom Waitsy, drawly sort of thing. What are your influences at the moment? I'm wondering, because it's been a long time since we've caught up. What have you been taking in recently?
I couldn't tell you, to be honest. It's just I've not listened to anything for a while. I guess if I've had a bit of Fiona Apple on the go, you know, lovely stuff. Bit of the old, bit of Bob Dylan. Gotta love that. Yeah, just anything really. I don't know. It's such a non-answer. I'm a terrible answerer.
It's very hard to interview.
I know.
Yeah, you're giving me nothing here.
I know.
When you say listen to anything, do you mean like you might put a streaming service on shuffle and then...
I've had a bit of minimalism on recently, actually. It's fucking... Bit of old Steve Reich.
A bit of Steve Reich, some tape loops.
Yeah. Bit of the old William Basinski. 9/11's just happened.
Nice. Do you find with that sort of stuff that then you start to contextualise everything you hear as a sort of...
Yeah, there are points where you just like, it's like disassociation where you just sat there like, my God, this is where my life has come to. That is just it, you just there like, fuck me. You have to really grasp yourself back into life. It's quite good though, it's quite an experience. I recommend it.
It's an out-of-body experience.
Yeah.
And are you still having an out-of-pocket experience?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay, right. So, straight from the depths of poverty, ladies and gentlemen, good people out there. May I introduce, again, Mr. Tom McCann.
This is a sort of conjoining of things. And on the topic of shit. Well, life here's a dog, limping, nearly dead. Old and weathered, bowing down its head. But you just can't kill it, can you? Could never live without it. Could put it down and bury it, but where would you be then? Left behind with just your mind and no way left to fend. Well, I made a habitat of a habit. Pulled the rabbit out the hat to have it. I salvaged what I could from the damage, and then I did it all over again out of habit. Any old excuse for an addict. I've taken faces full of granite. I've been on trips to different planets, with the pilot passing out every time in panic. I dress all in black sometimes. Ain't I just so enigmatic? From man to man, I'm manic as havoc. I feel like shit. Nah, I feel ecstatic. I've been 19 different people. I am plastic. I'm static. Elastic. I'm an emotional gymnastic. I down in one shot the entire Atlantic. From man to man, I'm manic. It's havoc. Paper. This is good. Well, I know that I'm a liar, but at least I'm honest. I took from you everything I ever wanted, which whenever you weren't here, I flaunted. If I am thirsty, then you are my faucet. From man to man, I'm manic as havoc. I am a beggar with a golden tooth. I am erratic. I'm a wing-clipped bird jumping off the roof. I'm a fanatic. I have taken. I only ever gave as a gambit. Put me in a straitjacket, I'm a fucking addict. From man to man, I'm manic, it's habit. Yeah, I made a habitat of a habit. Pulled the rabbit out the hat to have it. I salvaged what I could from the damage, and then I did it all over again out of habit. Any old excuse for an addict. That was habitat.
Damn.
Big hand, ladies and gentlemen, for Tom McCann. His inimitable style. It's very lyrical and musical, and we used to sit, do you remember, in my spare room, we used to sit when we first started this, and Lily as well, and we used to play around with the idea that we would make this a fusion of music and poetry, and we never really got the chance to fully explore that, but we did, you know, we would do things like that, and I'd sit and improvise. Do you want to try one? I've got my guitar here. Do you want to try a little... Yeah. What else have you got?
I've got a few more, yeah.
Are there any ones that I know already and I'm familiar so I can think of the vibe?
No.
Okay, alright. Tell you what I'm going to do.
They're quite... This one's a bit... It's not upbeat, but it's not downbeat. It's just neutral, really.
I'm just gonna quickly retune my guitar. I'm gonna come over here where the mic is. Although, have I got a bit of room on that, Dan? That mic. I'll move that a bit, just so I've got a line of sight to Tom. Yeah, let's try it out. So we've done this a few times with the double bass, didn't we? And I guess it's something that's up and coming. So get involved with Resonate, because we want to evolve, and we want to be incorporating and collaborating with musicians out there. And we've had some amazing ones. Do you remember when India Blue came with her harp the first time? Oh man, that was so good. And do you remember in the Zoom when we had Lawrence Panther playing, and he sang those two arias that were about love, and everyone was, you saw these people in these little boxes just weeping at the end, and we didn't even say goodbye at that time. We just ended the meeting on as his last note faded out. So it's a big part of Resonate. So yeah, let's go for it. All right, I'm going to reach in if you permit me. Minor key or major key? Or ambiguous?
Whatever floats your boat. We're good? Kicking up dust in the shadow of a lust, lost just as soon as it was thrust. From desire to a must, you feast too soon, too much. You lose your sense of taste and trust. Then all that's left is the crumbs of the crust and the echoes of a cuss that was clutched in their arms on the cusp. Once you gushed, they blushed, and now you ain't nothing but crushed like a can for that you can't. You ever erupt from having rushed too fast into the rush, 'cause it's never enough until enough. When you get too rough, well then it gets too tough. You used to amaze, now dizzy from a two-step into a daze, and entangled in a haze of sweat and smoke, you just choke and you gaze. Your bed sheets made a maze, and all that lays there now is a malaise. And just like any other phase, you say you ain't phased. But give it a couple more days and you'll be howling at the moon and the craze. Love and hate, just you wait. You give it all enough time, it all meets the same fate. Bit of a short one.
Yeah. Nice. It's fun doing that with you. Do you want a musical accompaniment on the next one, or you want to go solo?
Go for it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, what's the next one called?
Words. Oh yeah, that was called Kicking Up Dust.
Kicking Up
This
Dust.
is called Words.
This is called Words.
It's a very fucking creative title, isn't it?
All right, let's see. What can we do that's like, let's different, make the vibe different?
This one's quite rhythmic. Not that I'm a my voice is the fucking embodiment of rhythm, but there we go.
What if I give it like a little rhythmic kind of thing like that?
Fuck it. Yeah.
It's the equivalent of bongos, I know, which might be a bit of a taboo in this sort of environment.
Empty pages, morning pages, torn up pages, filled up pages full of nothing. You turn the pages and search for something, you fill the void with anything, you fill the void with anyone, to become your everything and for whom to be the only one, or from the want of being someone, or from the fear of being no one. Paper, stacks and stacks of paper, leaving a paper trail as track. Oh no, I did that wrong. Papering over all of your cracks and leaving a paper trail as track. Paper, crumpled paper, smoke filters and ripped up papers, and on the table yesterday's paper and the higher green and the taste of paper and the smell of a book's turning paper. And as the radio's singing a money paper, hear you're writing or trying of writing paper, though on a phone screen, not on paper, and nothing new you've written. Pens, pencils and pens, your pent-up emotions upon your pen depend, as you pen of your dependencies from which you're independent of defences for descending into, in a tailspin that deepens and deepens and deepens, locking you up like into pin, imprisoning yourself in your own mind, losing yourself in laments of loss, letting it become you and all you are until you no longer can repent. Words and fucking words. I am lost for words. It's like the words lose meaning the more they're read and heard, and though what I write ain't nothing more than words, still my sentences are life sentences, and 20 years I've served. For I am verses, the words of which I can't reverse.
Nice one, Tom. Was there a reference in there to the nagging that you get to not use your phone?
Probably, yeah.
I heard that a little bit in there. Yeah. Tom always used to come to all the Resonates and be like that on his phone, and we were like, Tom, can you write it down on some paper? And I guess you had to in the pandemic. That was one of the casualties of the pandemic, was your performance vibe, wasn't it? Because you all of a sudden you had to have the camera on your phone so that we could see you, and you weren't able to.
It's just a blank screen.
Yeah. Like, Tom, we can't see you. Tom, do you want to do another one without me?
Yeah.
Another non-musical one, but thank you for indulging us with that, good people, because that was nice. That was our. There'll be more of that, right?
Oh yeah.
There'll be more of that to come.
Definitely.
On the roadmap back to peace. The roadmap that's more like a timetable than a roadmap.
All right. This one's a bit longer, but yeah, this is just a. I don't know what you'd say. Is this like
an epic?
Sort of like an episodic series in the sense that they're all interlinked, but not.
Oh, lovely. Okay. Well, yeah.
Wow.
You've got our ears. You've got everyone's ears at home.
This is cool. Very cheerful title. Consumed by Apocalypse. Very, very. I don't know the fucking word, but. Consumed by Apocalypse. Hypnotised by extremists. Exploited by opportunists. Indoctrinated populaces rive in metropolis, which have become their necropolis, where rosé-eyed optimists wither into pessimists, while the religious they exorcist For paradise they persist, deluded perhaps and insane, but not eclipsed by a paranoia like existentialists, simply for that they exist, truly ignorant and duly in bliss. All his life he clenched his fists, compiled all he hated into lists, and never bared his love's witness, and as to why he was witless. He always swung and he always missed, as his deepest desires pursed between his lips, for that he could never accept to kiss another man, and man did the rage of it grip, like how a vice hold addicts in its vice grips. Time's hourglass like a pair of hips, fucked away with all of it, and yet something he never held. All he ever held was a whip, with which his own back he whipped, for to feel but anything, even his own blood's drip. Purposeless, then worthless, godless, loveless, lifeless, hopeless. What is the meaning? The point is, there is none. There is no meaning, she quips, as if on dying itself transfixed, and as all that's left of the light in her eyes slips. For a moment you believe her, and you'll rip apart along with her, unless you get a hold of yourself, and quick. Future archaeologists will unearth the rubble and bones of the inhumanity and hollowness of all of our politics. Every ideologist, and disgusted by it, they'll bury it back. And in each other and themselves they will find the answer to it. Two bodies merged together bodiless, above their conceived perceptions of themselves, transcending form into thoughtlessness and feeling finally fullness, free for a moment from the emptiness that is living like this. And then with a breath they fall back down, these bastardized Icarus, and they force their eyes open, tearing themselves back into the reality of this, their minds and bodies all in bits, and they peel themselves from each other like plastic film from fruit, and begin to rot again as the air touches their skin. And was it worth it to quit because you could not work it, when your foundation is a toughness built upon a ground of softness? Well, what else will you become but less? There is beauty in sweetness, there is strength from weakness, but never is there truth in self-falseness. No body is faultless.
Nice, Tom. Fantastic. Oh, it's so good hearing your flow again, your drawl again. It's so good. It's nice to see you as well. We genuinely haven't seen each other for a very, very long time.
Yeah,
Like, and we were running around just sorting this out, like when we got here. So I didn't even really say hello to Tom. Hello, Tom. How are you?
I'm alright, man. How are you?
Yeah, you keeping well?
Yeah, last time we did some each other, I was going a bit mental, really.
But even that was on Zoom. We didn't even see each other.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You had every right to be going mental.
Yeah.
Can we say that? Can we say going mental anymore?
Well, you've all got to go a bit mental sometimes.
Yeah.
It's releasing pressure, isn't it? It's like valves. We're all plumbers at heart.
That is a mechanical take on the human experience there. We're all like valves. Sometimes we're like pistons, pumping wildly in the dark.
You've got to find your Mario. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or if not, you can put a shout out on Facebook and you'll find a good plumber that way. Tom, before we leave you, and it's not, we're not leaving you forever. We're just, it's temporary. Before we say bon voyage, what can we expect in 2021 from Tom McCann? We're waiting for your Kickstart thing, so we can read your journalism.
Yeah.
What's the paper?
In Focus. It's an online paper.
Hastings in Focus, fantastic. I'm a big fan. I've read some fantastically informative articles on there. And when you do, what sort of stuff are you going to be covering?
Well, everything really. The dross and the good.
The dross.
You got to cover the dross, so someone's got to do it.
Would you write a review for me for my EP when
yeah.
it comes out?
Yeah.
Did you know I released a single yesterday?
I will give that a listen.
You don't see things on social media,
No,
do you?
I don't look. I think that's what more people should do. Really. You just stop looking. It's fine. You don't need
have
to
a
look.
listen. Have a listen.
Yeah.
Everyone have a listen.
Oh yeah, look
Dull
at that.
Black Ache by Tom Clarkson. It's available on all streaming platforms, YouTube, music, and Google, and things like that. But yeah, let's just give a very, very warm, silent, because we won't hear you, but please do applaud wildly for Tom McCann. How have I ended up going under? Oh yeah, it's because I moved it, wasn't it? So talking of keeping records of things, we are now going to move over to our third guest, who has brought with her wonderful book. Anna Atkinson. When I was introducing everyone, I suddenly drew a blank on your last name. I was like, Anna! And it's not because I don't know your last name, it's just because I have not slept very much for a very long time.
That's all right. Yeah,
I
it's
promise
alliteration, which helps.
It's wonderful, and there's also Amy Atkins who works for
yes,
too.
there is,
So
yeah.
we have to
Confusing.
very often in our house we have to differentiate between the two of you and sort of describe you. And when we describe you, we often talk about tarot. We're like the tarot poet, tarot poet.
The tarot poet. That's such an amazing accolade. I don't really think of myself as a tarot poet, but yeah, basically, I came to the first Resonate night maybe like a year ago. It's about a year ago. I didn't have any plan on reading anything, but I had it on my phone. Like, I did this thing in January last year where I was like, right, 2020, I'm going to pick a tarot card each day and write a journal entry on it, reflecting on my life in general as a kind of daily practice. Because I always want to journal, but I never know what to write. So I thought, right, I'll pick a tarot card, and I'm kind of into tarot. And I just started doing it in January last year, not knowing that 2020 would be the weirdest year ever. So it became a kind of lockdown diary of the year, and I came along to a Resonate session just to watch, and then I ended up reading out something on my phone on the first one I went to, and then I was hooked.
Were you pushed into that? Was someone to give you a gentle, encouraging nudge?
I think Laura may have brought me a beer.
That easy, was it?
Yeah, she did a really ranty one about emails and.
Oh, Laura Clark. Laura, if you're watching, we're all big fans of your work. Yeah, Laura's.
She's turned the rant into a poetic form.
Yeah, and she's so on point as well.
Yeah.
So you've got some tarot cards with you down here, haven't you?
Yes, I've made my own deck. They're all hand-painted cards.
Oh, because you are, as well as
I'm
a
an
fantastic
artist.
poet, you
Yeah.
are an. Would you describe yourself as an illustrator?
I did a degree in illustration about 15 years ago, and then hated illustration, didn't touch it, because I did it all by hand, I didn't use a computer.
Yeah.
These days it's pretty hard to be an illustrator unless you have like a computer, and I don't have one.
Yeah.
So I sort of shelved my illustration for many years, and then when I started to write these journal entries, I was like, oh yeah, I could paint the cards. And then I turned it into a one-woman show, which I couldn't show to anyone because it was lockdown and theatres were all cancelled. So I decided to make it into a book. So Resonate basically made me make a book.
That's fantastic.
I don't think I would have done it.
Resonate has inspired lots of people to try out poetry for the first time,
Yeah.
and we were always so overwhelmed with how incredible that quality was as well. Especially people just saying this is the first thing I've written, and we'd all be like, "That's good." But I think no one pushed their motivation quite as far as you in terms of publishing. Was it easy to have you self-published this?
I've self-published it, yeah. It's mainly just my mates that have bought it, but I am trying to sell it elsewhere.
Do you sell it out of the back of your car, old school?
Yes, I'm like Mary Poppins with a bag of books, a
Yeah.
trolley, a little bag.
Yeah, because it is available on Amazon, isn't it? But
It
a lot
is.
of people might be thinking, I don't want to be giving
Amazon,
70
Jeff my money,
pence
yeah.
to Jeff. So how much do Amazon take, just out of interest?
Oh, I don't actually know. I don't know. But it is a way of doing it if you can't pay upfront printing costs, which I couldn't afford. So, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like, it's like making a zine, but someone called Jeff gets all the money.
Yeah, and I suppose you enter into a bit of a sort of Stockholm syndrome type
Yes.
relationship with them
Yeah.
eventually. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can relate, if you're a small business owner or you're a self-publishing author or you're an independent artist of any kind and you've been affected by the heavy tariffs imposed upon you by Jeff Bezos, just let us know in the comments and we will turn it into art. Don't you worry.
But you can buy copies at Bookbuster. So I'm just shout out to Bookbuster.
Please go to
it's
Bookbuster. Please
really
go to Bookbuster.
been hard on independent bookshops during this time.
And
Yeah.
you can click and collect with those guys, can't you?
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
So click and collect.
Yeah.
Get yourself down to Bookbuster.
Yeah.
Buy Aaron Atkinson's book.
Yes.
Before you do read us some poetry from the book, which
Yeah.
I can see by your
raring to
demeanour,
go.
you are poised and ready to
I'm just
deliver
really nervous.
poetry. By the way, like Anna's doing really well because we've discussed before how awkward she feels when I start interviewing her. But we just chat. That's
Yeah.
the thing.
I'm
We
very
just
awkward
chat.
in an interview. Yeah.
Think of it. I don't think of it as an interview because I haven't prepared any questions. I'm completely going on everything that I know about you that I can store in my head.
The fact that you're wearing a poncho makes it slightly less formal.
Yeah, it's the softness, isn't it? It's the way it deflects the light. I find it makes me very neutral and sort of unthreatening.
I feel like all the news people should wear ponchos, and everything would be a bit more sort of relaxed.
Yeah, and the good thing then is we wouldn't know what they had going on underneath. And that levels the playing field, doesn't it? When you don't know what part.
I'm just imagining like Jon Snow wearing a poncho now, and it's a very nice thought.
And sandals. We wouldn't see the sandals. We wouldn't know. I just wanted to ask you, just to backtrack before you do read us some poetry. I'm really curious about tarot. I know virtually nothing about it. In fact, if I'm really honest, I can think of some people in my life who were into tarot, but were also perhaps a little bit just not my kind of people, but a little bit minded. So I potentially have a little bit of a bias. And think of tarot as being a little bit of jiggery pokery, a bit of woo, a little bit of...
Yes, I'm totally with you.
I'm willing to completely get rid of my prejudice. I'd like to understand... What can you tell me about tarot?
Well, what's interesting is that I sort of... So I've... the book is called The Wonky Woman's Guide to Tarot. And my friend said, yeah, do you know what? I think most people that read your book probably don't like tarot. Because it's a book about tarot for people that don't like tarot. Because I've kind of... in some ways of reading tarot cards, the meanings are very fixed, but actually I think the meanings are actually incredibly nuanced, and I think we can all they're just archetypes, they're just stories, so we're using them as basically storytelling props, and they kind of they're just a map, and you can choose what you want to take and choose what you want to leave. Like, you don't have to enter into any belief system.
Okay.
Yeah. But I am actually a witch as well. There is that.
Fantastic.
Big up the witches, Lily.
So I learned through going through a pregnancy with my partner and doing a hypnobirthing course, a deep connection between witches and feminism.
Yeah, there's a massive connection.
A huge one, which I was totally unaware of before. And is sort of modern. Has witchcraft been brought into the 21st century?
It's become quite Instagram now. There's a lot.
Hashtag coven and all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But by the way, Anna was saying she doesn't know how to post on Instagram and do the hashtags and things like that. So I'd suggest you start with hashtag coven and just see where you get from there.
Coven. I think that's probably that's a good start. Okay, I'm going to read something now.
Thank you. Yeah, I won't torture you any longer. I will just sit back and listen to your wonderful poetry. So please give a warm pre-reading, massive round of applause for Anna Atkinson.
So this is Seven of Pentacles, and it's sometimes known as the melancholy card. It's cracks off the chapter with a quote from Morrissey. What's the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning? Wish I hadn't. It started when I dredged myself out of bed to do my morning exercise routine. My bras don't fit, as I can't face the horror of having my sagging tits measured by an M&S employee in a nylon skirt with a name badge that reads, Deborah, 35 years service, or worse, 17-year-old Alicia, with no boobs and only 6 months service between her A-levels. So in my ill-fitting crop top, I attempt slack knee-high kicks to Rhythm is a Dancer. Everything just jiggles and hurts. You can feel it everywhere. Some people say exercise helps you feel great. Well, wine and ice cream make me feel great. Just fucking star jumps without proper cup support. But it's not cups, it's pentacles. 7 of pentacles. Sending out emails in my terrible neon nylon exercise clothes, I messaged someone about a great sad film I watched with a box of Kleenex, and then I burst into tears at the memory of it. There's so much melancholy. I attract it. My supervisor notices I tend to attract more sad clients than angry ones. Shortly after said supervisor meeting, I jump in a cab to go home, and following my polite, "It's a bit cloudy today," conversation starter, the driver stops the car, bursts into tears, and starts telling me about his depressed mother. I literally just leech out people's sadness, talking about the weather. I am a magnet for sad sacks. Mad for sadness. The melancholy in me knows the melancholy in you. My husband is an ex-emo kid. He spent years making his dyed black hair cover one smudged eyeliner dye with just the right slick of misery. I, meanwhile, spent my youth listening to the droning tones of the Smiths, smoking roll-ups with a rolled-up skirt in bus stops that smelt of piss. Perfect way to waste a day. Cure lyrics etched into tree barks with keys. Record fairs full of shoegazers in a world without Spotify. Mosh pits full of grease and sweat. Nervous phone box calls and knock-off band T-shirts outside the Camden Palace. This car, the 7 of Pentacles, suggests missed opportunities, phone numbers not procured, moments not seized, lost hopes. The rose is at his feet, and he doesn't know. Too busy looking in the distance to find someone on plentyoffish.com to give it to. Pining after ex-girlfriends and the perpetually unavailable Victoria's Secret models with perfectly supported cups that evade his pentacle tentacles. Melancholy was with me today. In the prizing wind, the cold sea, the whistling buildings. A teen in my art therapy confidence building group drew a wet dog dripping under an umbrella in leaky biro. Confidence is only an umbrella anyway, I thought. Today is the first day of my new writing challenge, January 2020. I always try to beat the blues by signing up for some new thing to fail at. This year it's writing. It's day 1. Melancholy and doubts are high. Self-esteem is low. If only I could recognise the red rose at my feet. That was actually the first one I wrote. That was day 1.
It's fantastic, Anna. If you saw us being a little bit panicky there, we thought that this was about to... it's actually about to run out of battery, and it has. So you will now be seeing a completely blank screen, but hearing some audio. Shall we fill?
Yeah. I'll get the next one queued up.
That feels like the sort of thing... I want that image of the scary girl with the... do you remember like on Channel 4? Because Channel 4 wasn't like all the time back in the day, was it? Channel 4 was like... Oh, it come on for like a couple of hours. You had to wheel the TV out. Everyone in the neighbourhood would sit around it. Cheeseburgers were a penny then.
Cheeseburgers were a penny. Yeah.
Those were the days.
Yeah.
Back in the days of a 56k dial-up modem. Can you imagine, like, even conceiving back then that we would be able to stream like this?
I know. I still think it's a form of magic. I mean, yeah, I think it's magic that we can do these things. Yeah.
And have we got our feedback again, guys? Have we got visuals? So
Yay.
Sorry we lost that, ladies and gentlemen. We just didn't put a new battery in before we started. But
that's all right. Did you hear the audio? Oh,
we got the audio,
that's
which is the
fine,
most important thing. I don't think we actually lost it. We didn't lose the visual at all, did we? We were really
at the
to the second. Good camera. So fantastic. Yeah, it doesn't plug in via USB, unfortunately. That's a little bit of a terrible thing. Fantastic, Anna. Sorry, there was a tiny disruption to your flow then.
Okay.
But
I was going to read one sort of that first one I read was the first one I wrote at the beginning of the year, not knowing it was going to be like the craziest year ever. This one I wrote towards the end of the year. It's based on the Lover's card. Most people know that tarot card. It's kind of like, most people know that
It's
card.
the one you want, right?
It's the one, yes, the one you always want in the reading. Yeah, is he going to be my boyfriend or not? Yeah. So I shall read this one. Sometimes the meanings of this card are unity, or the shadow is obsession. Bunny boiler, basically. This is a quote by Willie Nelson. 99% of the world's lovers are not with their first choice. That's what makes the jukebox play. I'm sitting here on a high-speed train on a beautiful but chilly sunset evening in mid-October. The sky looks ever so slightly brooding, like a lover who you suspect is going to break your heart, or at least sand the edges down. This autumn might break my heart. I'm off to visit my 90-year-old dad. Third attempt now, and York already has an outbreak. The chill is coming. What with this pandemic, my spells of dried up writing, and my 4th year into marriage, we've barely left our cluttered home for months on end, except to buy cupboard goods and emergency Tunnock's tea cakes. This card feels slightly irrelevant. Get your coat, love. You've pulled the Lover's card. I used to wear my best lace knickers on dates, curl my hair and zip into tiny, shimmering slip dresses effortlessly. The other day, someone from work was protesting about not having a partner. They won't complete you, I thought. You need to complete you. Be a romancer to yourself. Date nights, bubble baths, champagne, roses, posh chocolates, the works. All for yourself. I haven't been doing that. I buy Aldi soup and Iceland frozen peas on a Saturday night, for fuck's sake. Usually romancing myself involves woolly socks and a tear-jerking film. Other times it involves dancing and drinking into the small hours, i.e. past 9 p.m, to shamanic drumming in my living room with a Bloody Mary. It often involves me taking time out from others and having time in. I've had a lot of time in this year. I'm dating my hot water bottle. I've put on so much weight over COVID, none of my trousers do up. I feel frumpy, embarrassed. Long gone are my lover's days of wild passion and pizzazz. But I did buy myself a pair of red sexy tights for plus size thighs, just for me. An internet purchase, obviously. I get the tummy control pant Facebook advert pop-ups now. I made a sexy video spoof during lockdown when I should have been planning an anti-bullying quiz for Year 6 girls. The Amazon delivery man rang my bell with the knee support band I had also ordered, and I quickly shoved on a modesty smock. I deleted the video and ate most of a bag of tortilla chips. I look at the Instagram girls and I feel like a far-off island. I've not been a great date to me or my husband this year. At New Year, at the beginning of 2020, we went to Cambridge for a 1920s speakeasy. I wore black sequins and feathers and drank pickled gin cocktails with bright painted red lips. We danced and drank and cavorted. And the next day, really hungover, I got excited in a middle-aged way about the 50% off tableware at John Lewis and the pretty front door wreaths hanging on Cambridge townhouses, imagining we no longer had to rent our rickety old flat and could buy a house with a nice front door that actually closed. Little did we know it would be our last night out for a very long time. So the Lover's card this year has been a slow burner, a dull waltz, and a chit-butty holding hands kind of date on a socially distanced political ice rink. I tell my husband that if he gets a continuous cough, he's on the sofa. He kisses my roll of belly fat and gives me a fuck you kiss on the forehead. We both wear woolly socks and plan not to put the heating on just yet. Oh, and our front door got a lick of paint during lockdown. Can't say that. That's that one. It's really... Yeah.
Wonderful.
I'll try and do a short one to finish on.
Can I just say, as a fan, we always... me and Kiara always really looked forward to your offerings, and I remember you reading that one, and it's a tearjerker. It's so sweet and and honest as well, and very very brutal.
Yeah, I think it's something I think I don't know, that's quite close to my heart. I feel like once you get married, people stop asking you how your love life is. Like, they only ask you how your love life is when you're like single and like dating. But when you get married, no one asks you anymore. And like, I just think it's a good thing to talk about. Like, how is married life and how do people cope with it, and I don't know. So the idea with this book is really just to talk about the things I like to talk about, but just disguise them behind card meanings. It's kind of like a safe way of doing it. So this card that I'm going to share is quite emotional for me because it's about fathers, and it's the Emperor card, which is the father card in the tarot deck. And this is one of the last ones I wrote right before I published the book, so I thought I'd share it. It's about my relationship with my own dad. This starts with a quote by Natasha Trethewey. My father, Eric Trethewey, is a poet. So I had a poet right inside my own house, and on long trips he'd tell me if I got bored in the car to write a poem about it. And I did find that poetry was a way for me, as I think it is for a lot of people, to articulate the things that seemed hardest to say. This card was one of the last entries I filled in. These are not in the order that I wrote them. The Emperor is the father card. It's such a painful, wounded place. The tributary of my male lineage is very blocked. I found out aged 10 that the man who I thought was my father wasn't. This was very confusing. It wasn't till I was 22 that I decided to track down my biological dad. It's a bit like one of those teddy bears with only one ear. A part of me was missing and felt debilitated. He replied to a letter just after my 22nd birthday, and we met in a very funny cafe in central London called the Stockpot, where you could get a 2-course meal for £8.40, which was more than a cafe, but not quite a restaurant. Stodgy puddings, synthetic custard, bargain roast dinners and greasy plates piled high with liver and fried onions. Roast dinners for less than a fiver. Lasagna, fish cakes, boiled potatoes, apple crumbles drowning in bird's custard, fruit cocktail, golden syrup puddings. This is quoted from a wonderful Guardian article by Rebecca Hardy in a tribute to the Stockpot when it finally closed its doors in 2015, making way for gentrification and chain restaurants with overly smiley staff. She says that it belonged to an earlier world, a time before we got obsessed with celebrity chefs. It wasn't just food that was important, it was about the experience. It was a mixed clientele, a hardcore of students, many people down on their luck, filling up on their one meal of the day. The atmosphere was reassuringly bohemian, shabby and make-do, with tables pushed so close you could eavesdrop on all the conversations. For me, this was a great metaphor for the relationship between me and my dad, which was about to unfold. It was exactly this. Sometimes a cheap substitute for a normal father and daughter constellation, but always rich, warm and eclectic, and more about the warmth of the here and now company than the menu of my childhood hurts. You see, my father is not necessarily great father material. He gets impatient easily and hates children. However, he's a great friend. He has many great friends. He has wonderful tales of these friendships, chance encounters and mad escapades. He's a mate you can rely on. My father is both a poet and a storyteller, and neither of these things make for a reliable dad. But like the Stockpot, there is something very human about our flawed familial situation. We sometimes don't get on. Hurts from both sides come up, and we'll go down the pub with his great gang of friends, and I'll forgive him, and he'll forgive me. We share a meal of microwave macaroni and a pint of Yorkshire bitter. Our Stockpot days, my father and me. More than a cafe, but not quite a restaurant.
Thanks, Anna. That's really beautiful.
I felt really shy reading that.
It's tender.
It is tender.
It's very tender.
Yeah, but it was nice to share it. And I think like sometimes people think they haven't got anything to write about, but I think we've all got stuff to write about. I think everyone's got stories to tell, and I work as an art therapist, and I always say to people, everyone's an artist. That's like kind of like my core belief. But now I'm starting to realise that everyone's a writer as well. And I think Resonate made me realise that. So I feel like Resonate was a really, probably the best thing for me to come out of lockdown.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, those bi-monthly ones we were doing, I think, were a big relief for a lot of people.
Yes, they really were.
They really were, yeah. And I remember feeling at the time, after a while, hosting them, I felt like a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And I was having a breakdown as well. I was going through a particularly bad breakdown back then, and there came a point where I just had to be like, I can't do this anymore. But we've missed it so much since then, though. That's the thing. I think we've all missed it, haven't we? And it's been...
Yeah.
But I'm so pleased that it was something where everyone really... It was such catharsis for everyone who was involved.
I was about to say, yeah, like, it's like really nice to have spaces to have your fucking breakdown. Like, we all need places to be broken down and to be heard. And I think Resonate, like, from the first night I went to, like, hearing Lily and Tom, like, I just thought, wow, this is a place where people are, like, not bringing their polished selves, they're bringing their raw selves. And I just think there's not many spaces, because some spoken word notes I've been to are polished.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I just love Resonate because it's raw and it's kind of ramshackle, and that's what's good about it.
Which is what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
We have planned nothing at all, by the way. Absolutely nothing.
I'm wearing my slippers.
I know, I saw when you came in, you got your Ugg boots on.
Yeah.
Are we... I forgot what I was going to say then. That's how unplanned we are right now. I was going to say about that it was that safe space because we did it on Zoom. Are you going to join us on next Thursday?
Yes, I am.
So next
Yeah.
Thursday, if you are interested, just to remind you, please send either DM us on our social media, so at Resonate Hastings, or send an email to lily@eggtooth.org.uk if you want to be involved and you've got some poems. I think we've got a full bill on Thursday, haven't we, Lily? But, we're going to be doing them once a month. I don't think we're going to quite go back to every 2 weeks. I think, it's a bit of a strain. And everyone's got lots of things going on at the moment, trying to plan our way out of lockdown. But the thing about that is it is a very safe environment, whereas kind of, how do you feel about what we're doing now? Because we said we'd never do this, didn't we, Lily? We were like, we're not going to do we're not going to, in the beginning, Dan, who's behind the camera, of Isolation Station, invited us to stream over Isolation Station. I think we felt that it would be like a betrayal of those people who come to be vulnerable and come to do that. But how do you feel like now, knowing that this is A, streaming live, and B, it's technically published and watchable? And
I think I'm like a massive fan of I don't know if you've come across Julia Cameron, but she's a like sort of creative mentor.
The Artist's Way.
Yeah, she wrote The Artist's Way, which is like a sort of seminal book. But one of the things she talks about is how when you're creative and you make stuff like music or poetry or art or books or whatever, you have to kind of get out your own way. And sometimes getting out of your own way means sharing it and not caring.
Yeah, yeah.
So, because it's not actually for you, it's for, like, you can read a poem and it can mean something to someone else. And I don't know, I just think, like, we're meant to share stuff as human beings. We're meant to share. We're not just meant to, like, hide it all in a drawer.
And not feel like we're being reviewed necessarily and judged all the time and rated and liked and clicking the heart and clicking the thumb and stuff like that. Yeah. Even though, although that did just remind me, subscribe to our channel. First and foremost, this is a business. I completely agree. I did a live stream gig on Thursday night. As you heard me saying earlier, I put a single out yesterday from an EP that I've been sitting on for quite a long time, actually. And as tends to be, or has been the way for my artistic output, things just do naturally take quite a long time, but there's also an element of, like, willingness to it, and the way that subtly manifests by you procrastinating and things like that. But I did, and someone asked me a question about vulnerability, and I was like, do you know what? I wrote a poem that day. I'm going to read it now, actually. I'm going to go and grab my book, because it kind of segues nicely from your one about your father. I just had this really... you know how sometimes you just grab a pen and it flows, and I had this experience where I put my little baby down for a nap on Thursday morning, and as I put her down, so I got her to sleep rocking her like this, and as I put her down, a little hand just fell into mine and I started bawling. I mean, I just suddenly had this flash of not being alive anymore, and her being much older and feeling like I can't ever leave her. that's like the worst. I need to be here for her all the time. Anyway, I wrote this poem. I'm going to go and grab my book. I'm going to do my poem.
Yeah.
But I only read it once. I read it on Thursday. Like, I hadn't even read it back after writing it because I was crying so much. She was napping, and I was just sitting there like penning this thing. And she woke up after 10 minutes. Can you believe it? Anyone who's got a little baby, you know what I'm talking about. You're always hoping that nap's going to be like hour and a half so you can get some shit done, and then the time when you pick your pen up and all of a sudden she wakes up. But it was enough to write something. Anyway, I'm going to read it because I kind of want to put my vulnerability out there, and it feels sort of more real than reading something polished or that I've done lots of times. But don't worry, there will be a polished performance afterwards. Also, this is really nice because I always feel like when I do my bit, it's like, Who's gonna introduce me? Who's gonna interview me? It's not an interview, but you know what I mean. Would you introduce me?
Yes. So I've forgotten your surname as well.
Is that for the same reason?
I just like.
Make one up.
Okay.
Or call me Tom the something and then give me an appropriate title.
This is Tom. I'm trying to think of a good surname. Poncho.
Tom.
Tom Poncho. Tom Poncho.
I love lamp. This is a poem by Tom. I love lamp. Clarkson Poncho. We got to stop laughing. This is tender. This one. Okay. I kneeled at my baby's side and wept. She needs me eternally to be a sense, as if my breath against her face. As falling gracefully, her hand fell into mine, and I slipped into a time when she had grown and needed me still, though I'd become a ghost, and carried on the wind she walked in. In thought she talked to me, and sensed that I was there, to feel the gentlest of pressures on her hand as I caught her falling palm. Gravity lent me form, as though her arms around me, a living soul, I could be there forevermore. Her father, her foundation, her origin, but untethered, her spirit her own. And all that she had known, the memory gave her courage to face the world without me. I could never leave. And that's completely unfinished because that was when she woke up. I'm sure there was another thought was about to be there. I could never leave. Thank you. That's something fresh off the page. But thanks. It's so lovely when you get that like thing just flows out in one go. Because sometimes I think we all just sit and we're like, I'm going to write a poem, and we have to do that. Like she talks about that in The Artist's Way as well, of quantity. You worry about the quantity, and the universe will worry about the quality. And I believe that totally. Like I think you got to do it every day. You have to do it every day. It's a muscle, you know. Writing's a muscle.
Just showing up.
Just showing up on the page, yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna read another thing that I wrote recently as well. That again is quite unrehearsed, and then I'm gonna sing a song for you all, you lovely people. I realised something, Lily. Were you guys on the LGBTQ plus training the other day?
Sadly, I wasn't.
It was so good. It's from an organisation called All Sorts. So we're sort of talking shop now, but it's relevant because I realised that as a presenter, I default to these sort of tropes and I say ladies and gentlemen, and I realised how uninclusive that is. And so, first of all, I apologise if anyone who's transgender or non-binary is watching and wince when they hear that stock phrase, ladies and gentlemen. And I hope that you can appreciate that it's just coming from this instinct that we're kind of just born into us. But I'm working on it. I want to not say that anymore.
You can say esteemed guest.
Esteemed guests is a nice one.
Oh,
I say
that
lovely
sounds
people.
nice.
Esteemed guests is lovely.
Esteemed guests.
Good. Exactly. All good. What if they're not good people? But I believe that deep down everyone is good. You know, they're doing the best with what they got, right? Even when on the surface it shows as not being so, they're working with what they got. All right, I wrote this a little while ago. Still in lockdown days, I think. There's definitely something about the lockdown of it. Getting mellow in the front room, sleep it off in the back. There's nothing left to give, tight rope, no slack. No dreaming of easement, don't breathe in the air. Just swing back and forth like you're too strong to care. Too busy to notice, but you know full well this feeling won't sell it. So find the myth and dispel it. To market, to buy a new rig. And then I stay up all night to compose a new jig so I can dance in the freedom of a creative expression. I don't sleep at night because I'm planning the next session. I'm thinking about my soul, I've got my soul on my mind. I neglect my tired body just to lay down on the line with the oldest of habits. They're my oldest of friends, but to the closest of allies, the most destructive of trends. And I wake up in the front room wondering where I've been, sleepwalking through the day just as sweet as a dream. I count the days by the length of the hair on my face. I come to realise my position in both time and space, and then smack goes the floor as it rushes up to meet me. Loud screams the demon, but loud won't defeat me. I trick the devil and isolate a thought that I can keep afloat. I save enough breath to sing a note. I stay sharp, and I know when to leave. Soft enough, I still believe that I believe, but as the weather turns colder and my ears feel the frost, my steps are getting bolder, though my feet know that I'm lost. So tender tread the wilderness, and wisdom every day. Experience is pushing me, let inquiry light the way, wondering, when the fuck will this be over? When is it going to stop? Will I walk another mile before I let the load drop? Never before have I thought so much about death. Seeing loved ones struggle just to take a breath. Coming up for air you could be pushed back under. You see the flash of lightning just before you hear the thunder.
Woo!
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Damn.
And thus ends the section that comes out of my book. You know what it's like, right, Tom? You can't memorise these things.
Oh no.
It's hard to memorise them. So yeah, I'm going to finish off as we are. Yeah, it's spoken word and music. So I got a bit of music. I'm going to do a couple of tunes actually that one that fuses spoken word and music. It is in fact what you may call rap, if you will, and if you won't, then don't. Am I screwing that the right way? Hang on, lefty loosey, righty tighty. Yes, there we go. Got such an awkward angle to do that. Hang on, no, I was right the first time. This is raw, guys. Look at this. This is raw. You're watching a man screw. This could be a whole thing, couldn't it? Watching people struggle with hardware. .com. What do I need for that? I need a guitar. I've got one just here. Well, it just so happens that underneath my poncho, I've got such an instrument. Which I tuned funnily for Tom, didn't I? So I think the first one I'm going to do two songs here. The first one I'm going to do is a sort of acoustic version of the single that I put out yesterday that I've been really discreetly, subtly plugging. So, but you know, like I've got to really. If not here, then where? So yeah, if you like the sound of this, then head over to my channel, Tom Clarkson Music, because there's a couple of live streams up there of my tunes if you want to watch that being performed live. And yeah, or type me into Spotify or something, or head over to my Bandcamp, tomclarkson.bandcamp.com, because the new single is up on there, and an EP will be dropping sometime within the next couple of months. So the version that you'll find on there is actually really kind of beaty and hip hoppy. No, maybe that's the right. It's quite an aggressive kind of aesthetic to this tune. But anyway, here's the original version that I wrote when I wrote it. Actually, you know what, Tom? You're a big Tom Waits fan. When I wrote this, I was very, very, very depressed, and it was like I was saying to Anna, it's one of those like came out in one go kind of things.
Yeah.
But I was playing in this jazz band called the Hot Taps at the time, and we were like a vocal harm, like 3-part harmonies and like all that kind of stuff. And it was fun. It was really fun. But we had this thing of like, we should write some songs because then we can get, if we're playing in a big venue and we compose some songs, like literally talking about like just taking a set of jazz chords and like sticking a song over it, because who knows the difference, right? You're out there having a cocktail, you really don't care whether it was written by someone in the 1920s or if I just wrote it right now. Difference is we would have got paid a lot more. So the motivation was from a terrible depression, but the music, this version at least, is nothing like the version I just put out. It was inspired by Tom Waits. How we doing, Dan? I've moved that mic around. Is that all right still? Yeah? Sorry, I'm retuning because it's so cold in here. In order to stay safe, we've got the windows open. Okay. I feel so heavy, I don't know what to do. It's not my fault, but I can't blame you. You can take me to the country or a Venetian summer home. I've got a dull black ache that makes me feel so alone. Sitting by the seaside, waiting for your love. The sun seems so irrelevant, shining gold down from above. So I step into the garden shade, holding a flower in my hand, knowing that you're the only one who could ever understand how I feel about the world around me and how I feel about myself. I feel it so much that is bad, 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 bad for my health. It's bad, there's only one of you, love, but it feels like there's two of me, and they split apart from each other when I fell out of my tree. One hit every branch on the way down, and he wallows in the roots, while the other clings onto the top branch, hoping to taste forbidden fruit. And when the two come back together, they'll understand the glow of the sun, but there still lives only two halves. Till whenever you come back and make us one. Thank you.
Damn, girl!
Oh, I got a damn girl. I've never got a damn girl in my life. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I'm so amazed. So there you go. That's what can happen if you if you got a reason to write a song. So it's just showing up in it and doing it. Okay, so this next one, or this last one, we're going to close the show with this. So before we do, I just want to give a couple of shout outs. Big thank you to the two Dans who you can't see. Actually, you can see regular size Dan. Big cheer for regular size Dan. And what sort of size Dan are you? Presumably you're Big Dan. I mean, midway Dan, median Dan, regular size Dan and median Dan from Isolation Station, and with their fingers in all sorts of pies. Thanks guys so much for coming in and filming this today. Big thank you to Eggtooth. We're using the Eggtooth office at the moment. Big thank you to Lily Cooper. A big thank you to Tom McCann, who's sitting in the toilet, and flush. Big thank you to Anna Atkinson. I'll let you know where Chiara got this poncho from, if you're interested. It's a Peruvian, it's genuine Peruvian. And go out and buy Anna's book. But get it from, what's the bookstore called again? Get it from Bookbuster. Don't line Greasy Jeff's pockets any more than they've been lined. Oh, distasteful, I know. And this is from my first EP. This is called. I wish I could remember what it was called right then, because I could have started it on the next bar. This is called On the Way. It's about the sort of crippling anxiety that you experience when you're not living your life the way you really deep down know you should be, and you drink too much coffee. Walking downstairs like I'm falling in a hole slowly, and the feeling I've exceeded my limit is unholy. How do I wake up every day and have a word with myself? True bursts of you for a minute or two when you're sitting amongst the right company. You're better than ever whenever a high level dose of the thing you miss the most smacks you clean above the weather. How do I wake up every day and swallow a bowl full of this? Ooh, ah, ah. Ooh, ah, ah. Get on, get on, get on the way. Get on the way. Get on, get on, get on the way. Get on the way. My gravest constraints of my numerous complaints about the situation have left me with the wall that leans precariously forward. The total weight I carry is only enough to give me the power to marry my dreams to my reality. If I don't wake up, maybe they'll stay. So I enjoy it whenever I can. Faith and enough bread to last till the panic has passed and you're walking congenially with the free. Then you could come and free me and give me the key to open the next cell in turn for your private concern. Ooh, ah, ah. Ooh, ah, ah. Get on, get on, get on the way. Get on the way. Get on, get on, get on the way. 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 Get on turn out that way. Thanks so much, guys. Oh, this was lovely, wasn't it? We should do this again.
Really fun.
Should stick another one in the diary. If you want to see another one of these, put your positive feedback in the comments. And if you've got any negative feedback, well, keep it to yourself. Oh, Tom's back. Tom, you just missed it.
Yeah, I was listening, I just didn't want to interrupt.
Wow, this is so cool. Thanks, everyone. This was really good. Let's do this again.
Thank
This
you
was
for
really, really
watching.
good. Thank you so much for watching. Please enjoy the rest of your weekend responsibly. And, next time you're walking down the pathway and you're in a group of 3, just go single file. It's not hard.
And the 11th. Tune in on the 11th on Zoom.
Yeah, tune in on the 11th on Zoom. We're all gonna be before. Anna, you're doing one then, right? Yeah. All right. Okay. So we're all gonna be
There might be some new material.
new material, original material.
Who knows?
Special guests.
Let's see what happens.
So esteemed guests,
It's been a
lovely
pleasure.
people. Whether you're good or not, it's been a joy to do this for you. And peace and love.